Bada bing, bada boom. What's going on? Wake up. It is Wake Up War Channel, though. And don't wake up. I mean, you're already up. It's 5 p.m. on the East Coast. Thanks for joining us. I'm Aslan. He is Corey Clark. We work for warchant.com, the ultimate Seminoles sports source. Use a promo code above, warchant30 for 30 free days of access. You are watching us here live on YouTube, so hit the thumbs up button. That also indicates a like. We like that sort of stuff. You all like Corey Clark a bunch, and why not? He's a really swell gentleman. Corey, how are you, man?
Good, buddy. What was that we just went through there at the beginning of the show?
I don't know. I saw some guys at the Alabama website do it, and they're the gold standard, Alabama. So I figured I'd steal it from them, right? Get everybody.
Okay. I just felt like there should have been more of an explosion when we got to 0.
Okay, I'll see what I can do about that.
Okay, yeah, I want it a little more festive next time when the show actually starts.
Man, you're so demanding.
Hey, I demand excellence. There's a standard.
Shout out to Trevor Abbott, Trevor with a P. So much Zaxby's talk on the Wake Up Warchant pod. I had a craving tonight. This was actually last night. Sensation, just as good as you claim, Aslan.
There you go.
People. Try not to lie to my people. So
you don't think that's Prevar? You think it's Prever?
Well, his Twitter handle is Trevor with a P.
Oh, well, hey. Well done. I have a buddy named Jerson, and that's what he always says is person with a G.
Ah, very nice.
But that just is per song.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So, okay. Sorry about that, Trevor.
There you go. We'll open the phone lines up here momentarily, but obviously let's just kick around some stuff that happened today. First off, kickoff time has been slated for the opener, which is 11 days away, 10 days if you're listening to this on the podcast. We all love you. We love all of you, rather.
Derek Brooks days away. Yeah.
3:30 p.m. ABC, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't see the channel. Anyhow, who cares? 3:30 is all that matters.
It's not the ACC network. So
Bless.
You're lucky there.
Bless. And then Mike Norvell went ahead unsolicitedly and dropped the starting quarterback, James Blackman. I like it. I mean, my guy's hurt, so what are you going to do? But I like James. I'll roll with him. Let's do this. You wrote a column, right?
I did. I did kind of, it was the obvious choice. Once there were injuries, especially to the freshman from Arizona, I couldn't foresee a scenario where James Blackman wasn't the starter. But you did hear the right things. Number one, you heard from the coaches that we know he's a leader, man. We get it. We understand that his teammates like him and that he bleeds garnet and gold, and all that's important. I don't want to dismiss that. But the stuff you heard about how he reacts to bad plays, it emboldens you and encourages you to at least know that the coaches identified that was a problem. I mean, they would have had to have been, they would have had not to have had the gift of sight in the bowl game to understand that it was a problem. There wasn't a problem, but the fact that was what I thought Norvell almost talked about more than anything was him reacting, him growing in that way to reacting to mistakes, to reacting to bad plays, to keeping it to one bad play, leave it at one bad play. Just every play is its own play. I thought that was encouraging. I don't expect James Blackman to be an all ACC type quarterback this year. I don't even know if I expect him to be the quarterback in the middle of October, but he's the best quarterback available right now for Florida State going into September 12th.
Other than the Sun Bowl, are there some other examples of him melting down?
Not melting down in the sense that, he was on the verge of tears that we saw. But again, the fourth quarter of the Wake Forest game, the fourth quarter of the Virginia game, when things went poorly for him, they went really poorly. And when Virginia started coming back in that game, I know we all remember the throw to Terry that was awful, but he wasn't very good before that. And he wasn't very good after that. They got down on the field. I think the only reason their drive there at the end continued, got to whatever that awful play was at the end of the game, was because of a roughing the passer on a fourth down pass that was incomplete. I think he had thrown 3 or 4 straight incompletions, and the last one would have ended the game, but he was roughed. And so he got a new fresh set of downs. And it was just a lot of spiraling. Boise State, he could never pick it back up once it started going poorly. How do you explain what happened in the Boise State game?
Well, I explain it as if Cam Akers doesn't fumble the ball, or if Dontavius Jackson and Levante Taylor know how to fall on a fumble. We're probably not talking about.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the way they looked in the first 5 drives. And then I think in the second half, I know they were shut out. I think they got like 70 yards of offense. How does that happen? What was going so well that went so wrong in the second half? A lot of that is a quarterback not playing with confidence, not seeing it quickly, kind of melting down a little bit, not necessarily on the sidelines in tears, but not being able to buck back up and make a play. And we saw that way too much last season, I thought, from him. And you hope that that's gone. I don't think they just put it all on the Arizona State game. I don't think that's all what they're talking about. I think it's the totality of last season and how many times a bad series would turn into a bad half.
Well, I don't think they're talking. I don't think the coaching staff's talking about it. I think it's the fan base, man. I think it's us in the media that have really hung the Sun Bowl around his neck and kind of casting him as that's who he is.
Well, what do you think they're talking about?
Get over it.
What do you think they're talking about when they say he had to improve the way he reacted to things?
I think we're talking about practice, even at the beginning of it.
We're talking about practice?
Yeah.
Not games. Practice.
I think so. I mean, I don't know. Did they specifically say he's got to get better?
Did any of y'all get that? I thought my man would understand the reference. Hopefully some of you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you didn't. I mean, you just sat there and thought I was having a real conversation.
Oh, I mean, listen, I'm not really trying to take up for the kid all that much. I just think maybe sometimes go a little overboard with some of the things. I mean, he didn't melt down in the second half against Miami in 2017 as a true freshman.
That was a long time ago, my man.
Yeah, but I think with a coaching staff that's coherent and cohesive, and the way he talked today, Blackman, he just seems so at ease. And I don't know, maybe it's because we didn't have him up against the fence with 15 microphones in his face from 6 inches away.
Right, that
always helps. He just seemed to me to be so much more at ease. And again, I've never thought he was going to go out there and be a 68, 70% completion guy that's going to throw for 35 touchdowns and only turn the ball over 6 times in a full season. I just don't think that's what he's going to do. But I mean, if he can see things a little bit better, if this staff can give him better options, if they can take some things off of his plate. I know it was supposed to be so simple last year, no playbook, but I don't know how much of the RPO stuff got into his own head. But there's reason to think that he'll be wiser, that he will be better, that he's not some sort of broken project that has no hope. And I'm not saying that you're saying that. I think there's just a certain part of the fan base that's disappointed that it's him, to which I say, who else would it be? And he's got a better supporting cast around him, at least from a coaching staff. At least everybody's on the same page.
I definitely think that. The coaching staff, I think, will help him a lot. And yes, we've seen glimpses of what his ceiling is. He is not an elite quarterback. He doesn't have to be, I don't think, for them to have a successful season. And moreover, man, kudos to him, man. Congratulations to him. Like, I'm pretty sure if you listen to a Wake Up Warchant sometime in early January, I might have thought that James Blackman would never play again at Florida State. I thought that was like a sign-off, like he knew he wasn't wanted maybe or something. He was trying to show out for potential transfer options, and he had a terrible game, and that's why he felt the way he did. But he didn't think his future was at Florida State with a new coaching staff again and a new coordinator again. But the way he's worked, we've now had 4 different offensive coordinators tell us what a hard worker the kid is. I mean, that's just who he is. But the way he bought in again, the way he worked, it's to be commended. We don't. None of us think he's going to set records. But good for him to work that hard, to stay, to work through it, and again, to win another quarterback competition. You might say it was by default, but we don't know that Chubba was going to win the job, even if he was fully healthy. But James Blackman's the quarterback again, and congratulations to him for at least staying and fighting when so many other quarterbacks won't.
Well, 17 is a long time ago, and I probably only can use that for 10 more days until he actually plays a football game, and then 17 will kind of be out the window forevermore. But you mentioned about if this defense can get back maybe close to 17, you're not expecting a leap, but the 17 defense was good enough. I mean, when he's in that sort of setting where he doesn't have to put all this pressure on himself to go out there and hang 40 to win games or hang 38 to win games, he actually performed pretty decent for a true freshman. Now, with all those experiences in the back of his mind, for better or worse, and with a coaching staff that probably is better game management or has a better understanding of what they need to do to make this kid be successful, and the defense a little bit better, and make James Blackman have 1 or 2 drives where he needs to deliver for you, as opposed to making him have to go out there and deliver 6 out of 8 drives. I just make it a little bit easier on him overall with the entire team. That's kind of your roadmap to being successful in 2020. And I think that's totally practical and feasible.
And I also think that when Norvell and Dillingham, Norvell especially talked about the competition in the room, and they're still competing every day. I do believe that. I think, as I wrote in the column, Blackman's going to be your starter in September, or at least September 12th. But if he has a bad moment and it turns into a bad quarter or a bad half or a bad game, man, collarbones will be healed by the end of September.
Yeah.
And so that is there. And Norvell kind of made that abundantly clear that just because he won the job in late August does not mean he won't keep fighting to hold on to the job, because Jordan Travis, assuming he will get healthy and Chubba gets healthy, there will be real competition back in that room again. And if he doesn't play well, he might get overpassed. But hey, we're all hoping he plays well, and they just have a Chubba package.
It comes down to Miami, man. It really does. I feel good about Georgia Tech. I mean, we'll still see. I mean, who knows? Stranger things have happened, but it comes down to the Miami game. Play well against Miami, you're probably cruising along. And if you falter against Miami, you got Jacksonville State the next week. Chubba's 7 weeks, I think, removed from that collarbone injury, and Jordan Travis will hopefully be healthier, and Tate Rodemaker will have that many more practice reps. So all those things are encouraging. Not as encouraging as my man James B, though. Welcome to the party. Play his theme song, Aslan. And another one.
James B is the man. James B, again, I keep talking about it. We've got to get the board up there, and he and Ray could have a tip-off. And somebody else can get in the mix. By all means, other people get into the mix, but we really do appreciate it, James, a lot. That's awesome that you do that. His question, I've said a few times.
I'll read it because it's going to be a podcast as well, so people can't see on their screen when they're.
I can read.
You can read. All right, Corey. You don't like reading questions on Renegade Express? Go ahead, man. Make my job easier than it already is.
Corey, you have said a few times today, as a matter of fact, that you do not think the defense will be elite, but good. How do you define elite? Top 10, top 20? I assume James was listening to the wildly popular Seminole Headlines, which I guess is airing right now on the radio too. So you could listen to that and watch this. I'm everywhere, folks. Holy moly, I'm just all encompassing. Because most of the teams aren't playing. How many teams are playing, Aslan? Do we have a final number on teams that are actually playing this year in college football? Is it like 60?
I think it's in the 70s, I want to say. I'll see if I can find it.
I would say a lot of them are SEC, though. I would say top 15 to top 20. Well, you know what? I'll keep it within the ACC. If you're in the top 3 in the ACC, I think that would be considered elite. Anything from 4 to 6, you could say good, and anything after that is mediocre to poor. But just keeping it in the ACC, because that's really all you're playing. I would say if you finish right around in the same neighborhood as Clemson, Notre Dame, and Miami, you're definitely good. And depending on how well you perform, you could be elite if you're in the top 2 or 3 of the conference. You agree with that, Aslan? Is that a good gauge?
I was doing research, but yeah, top 2/3 is a good thing, right? I mean,
you weren't listening at all.
76 teams were playing college football this year.
So top 20 would still, I think top 20 would, I don't know if you'd call that elite, but I was saying in the ACC, like maybe just judge where they finish in the ACC.
It's like top 5 in the ACC, you think?
Top 3. I think top 3 in the ACC is elite, because you got Pitt too. You got Pitt, Miami, Notre Dame, and Clemson. Those they're all very good defenses. So again, if you're in that neighborhood, instead of being in the neighborhood with Louisville, that is a huge step up. Okay. But I don't know that they're going to be elite, but they should be much, much improved.
Good enough. Works for me. We'll open up the phone lines, 850-792-5730, 850-792-5730. I even have it scrolling at the bottom of the screen to make your lives easier. Right there. Look at that. So do call. Feel free to get involved in the show. And there we go. Without
further ado.
Nary a wasted second right here, man. We're getting, maybe Mike Norvell makes us wait to hear from him, but the fans don't wait to let their voices be heard here on Wake Up Warchant. Let's go to the phone lines. Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's. Indescribably good. You got Corey, myself, all the Florida State fans listening. There's a whole bunch of people listening today. Everyone's ready for football season. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Aslan. Hey, Corey Clark. It's
What's up, buddy?
From the 757 Virginia Beach.
Let's go.
Nice.
What is up, G?
I forgot last week to answer your question y'all brought up on one of the Wake Up War Chants where Virginia Tech would fly back to that y'all thought they would with their tail between their legs. It's actually Roanoke Blacksburg Regional Airport.
Okay.
It's about
Okay. All
a
right.
minute from them. So I just forgot that last week. Had it written down and whatever.
The more you know.
So,
Appreciate it, G.
Yep. JB1's really resilient. So I hope with all his hard work and everything he's been through that he shows up this year and hopefully they put him in situations to make him look really, really good.
Agreed. And that's a great word to describe him. I think when you think about him being recruited, remember who he was. He started being recruited probably in 2015 by Jimbo Fisher, who his last quarterback had just been the number 1 pick in the draft. He signs with Jimbo Fisher in 17, after Florida State had just gone and won the Orange Bowl after playing in 5 New Year's Day bowls in a row, New Year's 6 bowl games in a row. And then immediately he's the starter. I'm sure he can tell halfway through the season that the head coach isn't really into it. The season kind of melts down a little bit, but he keeps improving. And then he buys in fully to Willie, and he buys in fully to Walt Bell, and then he tries to buy in fully to Kendall Briles and Willie. And then he's got another, and then that doesn't work out. And now he's got another staff and another offensive coordinator. And he's heard all these things before. But for him to stay so resilient and stay locked in and stay at Florida State, again, he's going to make people upset. I get it. The first interception he throws, the first wild incompletion he has, people are going to be upset with him. But again, commend the kid for being here. In this day and age, quarterbacks don't typically stay like this. So I'm a fan of him as a person, and I'm a fan of his as a teammate. You can tell I might not think he's the best quarterback in the world, but I'm a fan of who he is as a person, and I think he works hard. He deserves it, and hopefully he has a bounce-back year and goes on to have a really nice season.
Good point being made by Tony Jones on YouTube, saying Blackman also seems to have changed his mechanics. He looks to have a much shorter and quicker release, which is true. I mean,
yeah, and they got his elbow up, right? And when that's something they did, they tucked his elbow. That was one of the – it wasn't just, hey, man, quit beating yourself up. They actually did some coaching physically as well.
Yeah. I don't know, man, think of your lowest moment, I guess, and whether or not it was captured on video or film. There's a photo of me, and I don't know what happened to, but it was my brother's like 5th birthday, and I was 3 or 4, and I was crying like an absolute brat because it was his birthday, and everybody came over and gave my brother gifts, and nobody gave me gifts. And I was like, wow, that's really embarrassing. I can't be that big of a chump my whole life. Man, I'm sure James Blackman watched replays or he heard what people said about the Sun Bowl performance, and I'm sure he's taken that sort of stuff to heart. And again, I just think the way he spoke today, he just seems to be much more at ease. Not that he's, taking things easier or being complacent, but I just think he's more confident in who he is, what's around him, what he can do. So I'll say optimistic for now.
Yeah, I would say that hopefully they put him in enough stressful situations in practice that he doesn't revert to his poor mechanics that he had. But that really wasn't my question. That was just an observation.
No. All right.
Okay. All right.
It gets knocked down. It gets knocked down, gets back up, gets knocked down, gets back up. So, I mean, he's definitely he definitely has the heart and the character of someone. Yeah. My question would be for you all, you've messed up in practice and you can pick which side of the ball you want to be on. Who would you rather get chewed out by, Norvell or Fuller? Because they're both seem very intense guys.
Norvell. Fuller scares me a little bit.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Fuller is Norvell's loud all the time. Like, he just goes from drill to drill, person to person, and is loud. He's one of those guys that – I'm not saying it bounces off you, but you get used to it. That's just his volume. That's just Norvell's volume as a yell, and that's how he communicates. He's not at Jimbo's level, but, he's in the neighborhood. I think Fuller is one of those guys that when he gets really mad, he's seething, and maybe it comes out as like a whisper. Maybe he takes you off to the side, or maybe he's mostly quiet, and then when he yells, everybody stops because it's not something they're used to. I think Fuller would affect me more if he yelled at me than Norvell.
What about you, G? Who would you rather get chewed out by?
I would probably have to say Norvell because the intensity. I mean, they're both highly intensive, and they're both are like they're like brothers on different sides of the ball. But something about those steely eyes that Fuller has, it just seems like I think he would be,
kind of like,
that's what I tell people about me. Once I get quiet, if I'm still talking, I'm good. Once I get quiet, you're in trouble. And I think that with him, I think when he calls you over and he's quiet, you're in a world of hurt.
Yeah, exactly right. I bet Jimbo does that. Like when Jimbo gets really mad and he's like seething and just, I'm sure that's when players would get genuinely like, oh God, is he about to hit me? The yelling they can take because they're used to it.
All right, G, we appreciate the call, man.
Gentlemen. Yeah, I appreciate everything y'all do. Make sure everyone you subscribe to Warchant, eat Zaxby's. Hit that thumbs up. 134 watching, 27 thumbs up. We need to get a little bit more.
Let's go.
Y'all have a great day. It's 10 days to go, and always go Noles.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, G. Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, gentlemen. Good night.
Swole Knoll, not happy. I guess these guys get pumped up before it goes and works out. Warchant, please, all caps, y'all, stop the hype. James Blackman, he's still go be the same turnover machine he's been all 3 years.
Can you put my head on his body again?
How about, yeah, hold on, let's do that. There we go. Oh, let's take a phone call. Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's Indescribably Good. Who's this? Where are you calling us from?
This is Daryl from Thomasville, North Carolina. How y'all doing?
Good. What's going on, Daryl?
We're doing all right up here. Just wanted to call in. I guess we're happy that James Blackman. Congratulations to him for winning the job. I guess some would say he won by default, but I mean, Corey, I wanted to ask you about the seems like the last 2 or 3 years with him winning the job, seems like his demeanor's pretty much been the same, on his questions. When he answers the questions, they pretty much the same. The coaching staff, when you talk to him and ask him about why he won the job, they pretty much go through the same format. He won the job because of this, that, and the other. But then when you go through the game situation, he seems to make the same mistakes or the same format. Do you think Norvell has kind of maybe helped him in his mechanics this year, and hopefully with his mentally and physically mechanics, he's hopefully got things worked out this year?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a chance. I can't say Daryl, we can't know for sure until we see one way or the other. Okay, that's the same James Blackman, or no, I see some improvement. I think that James Blackman maybe trusts this head coach more than the last one. I think he has a better relationship with him. I think that they have a close relationship, but it is, I think there's a lot of respect there. And I think that the way he talks about the coaching staff isn't a way he talked about the last coaching staff. He wasn't rude about them. He didn't say these guys don't know what they're doing, but he didn't talk about Walt Bell, Kendall Briles, and Willie Taggart the way he talks about Dillingham and Norvell, and how they're trying to get the best out of everyone, and they push them every day. I do think that there will be some improvement in the mental aspect. Like Swolno sent out on YouTube, we're certainly not hyping up James Blackman as being a great player by any stretch. And we'll see about the turnovers. I think Norvell has proven and Dillingham have proven they can coach quarterbacks at a pretty high level. This is a great test for them, because this was a kid that at the end of that Arizona State game was just a broken player. And he had shown promise, especially like Aslan said in 2017. Then he couldn't beat out Francois in 18, and then couldn't beat out Hornibrook the whole season in 19. And then by the end of that season was a broken down quarterback. Like he was a turnover machine. He was falling apart on the sidelines. And for them to resurrect his career to the point where now he's the starter, and he sounds like he believes in everything. He sounds like he believes in them, and he sounds really confident. We'll see what that looks like, in 11 days, 10 days on the podcast. But, I do think I do personally think it's going to be a little bit better. I'm not expecting Christian Ponder on September 12th against Georgia Tech. I don't think he's going to take a huge leap, but as long as he doesn't stay the same and as long as he doesn't give away games, that'll be an improvement in my opinion.
All right, Daryl. Anything else?
I got a second question for you.
Right.
You keep hearing rumblings about the Big Ten maybe second guessing themselves about playing football on Twitter and things like that. Do you are you hearing anything different that they may start like in the middle of like October or November, or what's going on with that?
Well, I know Dan Patrick tweeted out that somebody told him that October 10th is a date they're eyeing. That seems way too early for me for schools that have been completely shut down, or practices that have been mainly shut down to start in October. I do think they'll try to do it by Thanksgiving. I think some of this, a good portion of what we saw today on Twitter was political. There's a lot of swing states in the Big Ten, and football fans aren't happy that their football is being taken away from them. So a lot of that is kind of the stuff we heard today, I think, is mostly pandering and political. I don't foresee a way that they start because how could they explain that then? Like if the Big Ten commissioner wants to keep his job, and it's the presidents that vote, by the way, it's not him. But how could you explain stopping when you did and then, oh, never mind, that was our mistake, and starting back up? I think, Daryl, and I think you do too, I think they thought when they stopped playing and announced that they weren't going to play, that every single conference would follow suit. And now they don't look so bright because every conference did not follow suit. And apparently there's already been a college football game. There's going to be more this weekend. In 10, 11 days, we're going to be watching Florida State, and they're going to be sitting at home doing whatever you do in Big Ten country. I assume milking cows and
shucking corn.
That's all you do there. So I don't foresee it happening in October, but I do think there is a realistic chance that they try to start somewhere around Thanksgiving, like right after maybe the ACC and SEC kind of wrap up their seasons.
Right. Well, I've used my e-card and everything from Warchant, so nice. I'm looking forward to getting my T-shirt from Guarded Gold.
Nice.
I'm saying go Noles, and looking forward to the football season. So y'all have a great evening and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Daryl.
Thanks, Daryl.
Daryl Goodman, Thomasville, North Carolina, in the house.
That's right.
Shout out to Sandra Gordon. Thank you for your tips.
Sandra, thank you very much.
If you're watching this on YouTube, I think there might be like a cool graphic. The interface.
What is that picture? I can't. Yeah, can you see what that picture is?
It's a skull with a Florida.
Oh, I see it now. Oh, that's cool. I wonder if she does that. Do you think that's like something she made?
I don't know. Maybe she could be crafty. Appreciate that. Also, thanks to Premier Youth Theater. I don't know what your next show is, Premier Youth Theater, or where you're located, but let us know. Maybe we'll give you guys a shout out. Get some arts in you, some culture, everybody. But my boy Ray Pereira,
my man,
what's up?
My man, Ray.
Another. And Swolno knows the deal. He was bracing himself. He was bracing himself for the horn. In the wind knows the deal. Y'all know what's going on. We blow the horn, man. That's what we do. Let me get back to that question that Ray asked. Ray just tipped us $24.99. By the way, Ray, glad Laura missed you. By the way, what happened to that? It was a Category 4. It was really strong, and no one talked about it.
Yeah, I don't think there were many fatalities, and I think it did a lot of damage, but I don't think that it ended a lot of human life, thankfully, because it looked awful when it was hitting.
Oh yeah.
So we're glad. It's Swolno. I'm not going to argue with you. We've established that's your real bicep. You are right, my man. I apologize for pumping up James Blackman.
No, don't. Do not.
When it comes to Ray's question, his question is over under 3 punt returns for TD this year. I'm going to say under. Yeah, that's a lot. I don't think Dion never had 3 in a season. I don't think T-Buck had 3 in a season. That's a lot to have. I guess they did have them back then though, because block punts for touchdowns were also considered punt return TDs. So they've had some seasons where they had more than 3 or more. But 1 would be cool. 2, how about a kick return for a touchdown? Those are neat. But the way punting is now, there's not a ton of chances to get the kids punt it so high, and they have their little blockade in front of them, so it's hard to get to, so they can take their time and let their coverage unit get down the field. So it's just really hard to bust off a lot of long punt returns these days.
I know, and I think we have to kind of recalibrate what we think of, because we've been talking about special teams a lot and how that's a calling card for this program, possibly, at least as coaching staff. Just get better field position on kickoffs. Little things like that. Be plus 10 on these, on every punt versus just taking fair catches or letting it bounce and you lose and go from 10 yards. Like little things like that. Find those.
Well, you think about, I bet DJ Matthews, at least in a few games last year, probably cost them 30 yards of field position by not catching a punt.
Yeah.
Well, that's 3 first downs. And when you have an offense that ain't great, 3 first downs matter. 18 was the same thing. They would return those kicks and always have a block in the back and always start at the 7-yard line. And that matters. That basically ruins the possession. So just get rid of that. The hidden yardage is where you really need to shine this year. I don't see a bunch of punt return touchdowns.
I just want to get back to Ray. Thank you so much, man. Glad everything worked out.
Thank you very much, Ray.
Each town stayed high and dry. I want to get back to this real quick with Swole Knoll telling us not to hype up, James Blackman. I pulled up the wrong one, obviously, because I don't know what I'm doing with myself here. I wish it would signify which tab I'm opening. It's like it's a very blind thing that I'm doing here. But anyhow, he's been talking about why not Jordan Travis. To which I kind of say, and I hope this isn't all right, I pulled up the right one. Man, Jordan Travis ate up Boston College. Boston College had the 125th ranked defense in the nation last year. 125. It's not good.
Hey, he was good against Arizona State too. He ran for 70 or 80 yards against in the Sun Bowl, I think.
It's not a sustainable thing for me, I think. I think you can pick and choose your spots with him. I don't know, starting quarterback makeup. Not that he doesn't have the makeup for that. I don't think that he is an instant highlight waiting to happen. I think he had some pretty good circumstances around him that allowed him to flourish in those moments. Not to say he doesn't deserve more reps. I just don't think it's some sort of you cannot keep this. I don't know. We're talking about it's almost like keeping Randy Moss on the field or something. Hey, let's Mike Vick. How can?
Yeah. Well, look, I don't think that's the prevailing thought among the FSU fan base, but I think the bigger issue is that Travis didn't scrimmage. He hasn't gotten to compete. He's been hurt. We don't know what with. We don't know how badly, but he hasn't been getting all the reps of the other quarterbacks, and that's why. Look, once Chubba went down, and once Travis got banged up to some extent, where he's not practicing getting as many reps as the other guys, it was James Blackman. Essentially, once Chubba went down, it was James Blackman. So I do think Norvell pointed out that he thinks the quarterbacks will still have a really big chance to make an impact. I think that they'll get Jordan Travis into games if he's healthy. I think they'll get Chubba Purdy when he's healthy into games in certain packages. I don't know that they're going to be, especially Jordan, I don't know that they're going to make him the starter.
All right. I just hope he gets healthy, man. I do. He seemed really excited to prove people wrong because, we didn't see him throw the ball a lot. He wanted to show everybody that he could. So I hope he is healthy and gets that opportunity because I think Ira mentioned on the video with Gene, try to get to your call and you hung up. You got to be patient. Show resiliency like you're starting quarterback. Whoever
QB1.
Yeah, don't give up like that. But
what did Ira say? You said Ira said something.
Well, Ira and Gene basically on the wrap-up video after today's press conference, which you can watch on our YouTube channel after this, just basically these other guys we're gonna see other quarterbacks play this season, most likely. So
I don't think this is a 12-game starting every game type deal for James Blackman, or playing every game.
Ira said it's not a marriage; they're just going steady.
That's a good analogy.
Good. Let's take a phone call here. Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's, Indescribably Good. Who's this and where are you calling us from?
What's going on, guys? This is Brad from Orlando. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, all right. Brad from Orlando. What is going on in Orange County, man? 407. Make some noise.
It's hot. I can tell you that much. I normally listen to you guys when I'm mowing my yard, and it's too hot today, so I'm inside in the office doing a little work.
Nice.
Smart man. What's on your mind, Brad?
All right, so let's talk about a couple things. First off, I'm going to switch up from James Blackman, and then we'll come back to him. Let's do Jay Sean Corbin. how's his blocking? Do we know anything about this? Because obviously our offensive line needs a little bit of help. Is he going to be able to give him a little bit of relief and give Blackman an extra second?
We'll see. That I don't think they've talked really highly of his blocking, but I don't think they've been asked about his blocking. I will say this on that same front: a big loss, a loss that hasn't gotten the attention it probably should have, at least in the last week or two, is the tight end from UCLA. That was a big loss for them. That was a big body that they could have used in the running game, and I think he obviously would have helped those tackles in pass pro in some instances. That to me is a really big loss. Corbin, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't expect him. It's hard to be great. I mean, he's only played – how many games has he really played? 2 in his college career? So some of this might be learning under fire. Like, you better get good at blocking or you're going to be on your butt the whole time. But what did he play last? Yeah, he played 2 games last year, right, where he started. How was he in the blocking, Aslan? You're looking it up right now.
Pass blocking last season versus Texas State, 38.9 against Clemson, 16.3. Neither of those are very desirable.
Yeah, the 60. He's in the red. He's in the red on the Clemson game.
But in 2018, he did have 32 plays where he was blocking at some point, 13 in pass blocking, 2018 as a freshman, and he did grade out at 71.3. So, you know.
And look, he couldn't block Clemson defenders, so he'll fit right in at Florida State.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Second question. Let's go back to Blackman. The issue that I want to resolve is, Corey, how was the tone of Norvell? I was reading as you were transcribing today, and to me, it just seems like coach speak. It seems like he's kind of fluffing him up because Chubb is not there, and that based on what I read, that Chubb is going to get first shot as soon as he comes back.
I don't disagree with that. Both sentiments you just expressed. I think that, yes, it would be weird if Norvell came out and was like, look, guys, this is all we got. We got to go with someone. We got to have a quarterback. He's the only one that we trust to get the plays right because the other 2 guys we wanted to play are hurt. He's not going to come out and say that. I think part of that is, yes, I'm building James Blackman up. I certainly don't think James Blackman has been John Elway the last 2 weeks of practice. So I think some of that is coach speak. I also think, what percentages can you put on it? I do think the part that they talk about so much, again, is the response. And I do think they've been pleased with his response to bad plays. Now, the next step, Brad, that we all know is, hey, how about eliminating the bad plays? It's one thing. It's great that you respond well to bad plays now, or you respond better. But it's even better, James, when you don't have bad plays at all. Let's try that out. Let's see how you respond to a bunch of good plays in a row. So I think that's the next step. But yes, I think part of that is, I don't want to say coach speak because that sounds like a lie. I do think what the positive stuff he said about James Blackman, I think he believes about being the leader, about being improved, about working as hard as he has, and knowing the scheme a little bit better than everybody else. I think all that's true. But yes, when Chubba Purdy is healthy, I think Chubba Purdy has a really good chance to get into the game early. The first time he's cleared to play.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for taking my call. I'm looking forward to the Norvell era starting up. Excited to see some football. I'm a Jimbo guy like Aslan, so I'm just hoping that we can see something a little bit different this year.
I'm with you, Brad. I'm with you, buddy.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate you, man.
Take care, guys.
That's right. Oh, man.
A Jimbo guy, huh? A Jimbo guy. Couldn't be me.
No. By the way, somebody asked if Dillingham called plays at Auburn. It was Gus.
That's Gus. He was the QB coach. And I don't think Dilly's going to be calling a ton of plays at Florida State either. But he is coaching the QBs every day, and he works in concert with Norvell and knows what that looks like, and they share a brain, essentially.
Well, the great thing was going into 17 at SEC Media Days, Malzahn was kind of bragging about or talking about how he was going to step away and how he felt so much comfortable about being able to sort of be an actual delegator and a leader of a program. And then 17, they almost snuck into the college football playoff. And then last year, or in 18, they stepped back. And then going to 2019 is like, yeah, I feel like myself again. I'm going to call plays. I'm back, baby.
That's what they do.
Shift it all around. We got a phone caller. Thanks for hanging tight. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
This is Joe calling from Tallahassee, Florida.
There we go. All
Yeah,
right, man.
I'm a junior at Florida State. Love it.
Look at that young guy. All right. War chants for the
yeah.
kids too, everybody. Don't get it twisted.
Hey, have you gone into a classroom yet?
I have class.
What'd you say?
I have class.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Oh, what's on your mind, Joe?
Who do you think James Black won't be the starting quarterback by the end of the year?
I got put Chuba. I got to stick with Chuba, man. I think Chuba will come back, take his rightful throne. I don't know, man. If it goes in November, if they play all 11 games, I think it would be Chuba. If the season somehow gets interrupted,
that's not the answer. We're assuming it's an 11-game season, and I don't even remember who they played last this season. Who is it? I don't even remember. I can't remember their schedule. I just take it one game at a time, guys.
That's how we live. That's how we live.
Game 11. Yeah, oh, man, that's because then it's going to make me basically besmirch the good name.
Duke. I thought it was
It's Duke. Duke is their last game.
Duke.
Oh,
We got
man, okay. Nice. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. I don't know if I believe it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. Blackman will be the starter against Duke as well, but Chuba will get reps throughout. It'll be a two-headed monster.
Joe, what do you feel about James Blackman being named the starter? Like good, bad, and different?
Well, I think he's got a lot of experience, and I think his height definitely helps him see the field. I just think the defense is going to be really good this year in the secondary, and if he can just not turn the ball over, I think we may have a chance.
Yeah, that's totally practical, man. You're not hoping for a miracle if that's your recipe. That's a totally reasonable expectation.
Yeah, just be okay. Just don't be a detriment to the team.
Yeah. All right, Joe. Anything else?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
Thanks,
the
buddy.
call. Look at that, man.
What did he say when I asked him if he had gone to class yet?
No clue. No.
What
clue.
were you doing?
What was I doing? I was typing his name so I can put it on the screen and make him look cool, man.
Well, I couldn't hear him, and I wanted to go like, okay, what are the kids? Are y'all taking care of each other, Joe?
Oh, yeah.
Are y'all breathing all over each other?
You and I, we're hearing the same thing. Like I don't have a secret feed
okay.
better than you. We're on the same thing. We're democratic situation over here. Enterprise. Welcome on in, caller, to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. Indescribably good. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Jay from Daytona Beach.
Oh, look at
What
that.
up, Jay?
You'd figure I'd recognize your number after all these years, but I don't.
Yeah,
man. I don't. But I'm glad you called. This is your time to shine, Jay. What were you thinking? What happened to you around, I don't know, like 11:56 p.m. when you heard it was James Blackman? Tell me everything, man. What do you feel like? Take us back to the moment.
I'm going to get to that, but first,
Okay.
you know, I was watching Hard Knocks the other day with my wife, and I saw Duran hit a guy with his shoulder, and the guy just collapsed. And I said, I don't like that because it took me back to the Charleston Southern game when he hit the guy with his shoulder out of bounds and came down. And I was like, I know the guy's talented, but you would think the coach would say, hey, let's not do it like that. And then less than 24 hours later, I see on Twitter that he tore his meniscus.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's a bummer. He's out for the year for the
2 years in a row.
Yeah, 2 years in a row. I know he played a couple games last year, but not many. And then he missed all of 16 as well with an injury. So we hope he gets healthy. And it's just a bummer.
In reference to the QB situation, I'll say this. Let me ask you guys a question. If you could pick three players, hypothetical, I'll do a Gator Kirk hypothetical situation. Three players that you would re-recruit to help this year's team. Who would you pick? And for example, you can't pick Randy Moss because he never actually played. These have to be players that were highly regarded, but for whatever reason, they didn't pan out. I'll go first. I would pick Xavier Lee, Adrian McPherson, and Fred Rouse.
Rouse is a testy one because of he just didn't seem like the best teammate. I like Adrian McPherson a lot. I think that's a really good choice. I think that guy just had unbelievable ability and was stuck with a coaching staff that did not know what to do with him. And then he he did what he did while he was playing. But still, I think if he had been coached better, that team could have been a New Year's Day team every year. He was so much better than Rick, so much more talented, but it just never came together. That's a good one. I was trying to think of an offensive lineman that didn't really pan out, but who do you got, Aslan? You got anybody that comes to mind?
Courtney Abbott.
Jeff Barnard, that crew. Yeah, man. Golly, I don't. Would Menelik Watson count?
I mean, Preston Parker worked out, but Preston Parker got kicked off the team. Does that count?
Yeah, he would count. I think Menelik Watson only played for a year, so maybe recruit him coming out of high school before he goes into boxing. You need some help on the O-line for sure, and that would be where I'd go first. And then, I think Adrian McPherson's a really good choice. You know who else, though? Then I was just thinking about this guy today. Y'all tell me about this. Devontre Richardson.
Okay.
That guy was, I know Burt Reed compared him to Charlie Ward one day after practice, which, I quoted him. It's not like I said that he was Charlie Ward. But I think that guy, again, he was coached by Jeff Bowden and Dickey for too long. But I think that guy had a chance at some way to really help a program. I mean, that guy was an electric runner and a very good passer too. So that would be he just lost out to a first-round pick. You know what I mean? It's not like he lost the job to Drew Weatherford. He lost it to Christian Ponder and then went on to focus on baseball. But Devontre Richardson is a guy that I think would be really, really unique in this offense.
Like Uwatu here saying Jeff Luke, which is not a bad one, but I think it has to be somebody on offense because most of the people that didn't pan out, we kind of peg it on them being here during the last decade and having Jeff Bowden be their coach. Everybody else kind of, failed on their own merits,
What about the lineman we just lost last year?
Landon Dickerson?
Oh, sweet Landon.
No, I think he had like some accusations or something.
Oh, Josh Ball?
I'd go with Landon Dickerson before him. And Landon Dickerson would be a huge help, especially if he brought back the Alabama game plan for how they gain weight over there. That and gave it to the rest of the guys. That would help the program immensely. But quarterback is also a really good place. I just Devontre, man, Debo I think had a chance to be something. That's a good one. Rob Krause, Brandon Warren.
Tennessee. Yeah. Good call. Rob Krause. Rob Krause also pointed out to you, Corey, 11 days away is Dexter Jackson days away. A whole bunch of people were saying, why didn't we say Dexter Jackson on the podcast yesterday?
Well, because you said Gerard Ross. At least I said Devin Bush and Casey Weldon. Those are two pretty good names.
Well, that's the whole point is to say somebody obscure.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, you got anything else for us, Jay?
No, I don't got anything else, but I know that Irish listening, so I'm going to give you guys a recruiting nugget. Got some breaking news about a 5-star. Not the offensive lineman or the defensive lineman. What is his name? There's no Ira. There's Amarius Mims and Taiwan Malone, the offensive tackle, and then the defensive tackle. What's the defensive tackle that we already have here? Ira Henry.
Yeah, he's offensive lineman. He's an offensive lineman. Yeah,
okay.
Ira Henry. Yeah.
Well, Ira Schofel has been demoted to a 4-star from a 5-star.
Whoa.
Because nobody that doesn't eat biscuits can be a 5-star. Sorry,
absolutely, Jay. You are 100% right there. It's a 2-star. He needs to go to UAB. He doesn't belong in that. Who doesn't like biscuits but likes every other bread product known to man? That doesn't make any sense, man. Trust me, we've had that conversation for many years.
All right, Jay, we appreciate the call, man.
All right, go.
That's right. He said go Noles, everybody. He said go Noles, everybody. I promise you.
Oh, he said go eat.
Or maybe said that as well. So
Brandon Warren, man, I forgot all about that dude.
Yeah, good call.
That's what he would. And Fred Rouse was number 1 too, right? Like the one was cursed there for a while. But Brandon Warren was a big time player.
Was Corey Sorensen number 1?
Yep, he sure was.
Like Kelvin's the one that finally got the stink off of it.
Yeah, Mike Harris to an extent.
Mike Harris.
And then Kelvin took it and ran with it.
Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's Indescribably Good. Who's this and where are you calling us from?
Hey, guys. This is Ty from Green Cove Springs, Florida, home of Cliff Averill.
Okay.
And let's see. We got the Olympic swimmer. He went to Florida. Caleb Dressel went to high school with him.
Okay, he was an Olympian, right?
Home of probably Fred Durst is the biggest come out of Jacksonville, right?
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Take him to the Matthews Bridge. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I got a question for both of you guys.
All right.
If you guys had the chance to go back, barring any national championship games, what would be the one FSU game you would want to relive and why?
Like relive our own experiences or actually have a different experience at that game? Do you know what I mean? Like I went to the Michigan game with my dad.
A game you've been to or like a game you watched?
Okay. Yeah, I would say.
Let's make it two-part, Corey. Let's make it two-part. Pick a game that you've been to that you want to go experience again, and then maybe pick a game you weren't able to go to.
Okay, yeah, the one I would experience again, there's a lot with my dad, but I think I'd still stick with the 91 Michigan game up there at noon where they hung 51 in the big house. And then one I wasn't at was, we all remember it really turned the program around was Geno Hayes stepping in front of that Matt Ryan pass in Boston and taking it to the house. No, I wouldn't have been there. That looked like a cold and miserable night in Boston. The other one would have been the 93 game with Warwick Dunn and Charlie Ward at the Swamp. My sister went to that one, and I thought that would have been really cool to be there. But luckily, because of my job, I've been to all the really good ones for the last decade. What do you got, Aslan?
I'd probably go back. I'd relive Rick's to PK Sam 2003 in the Swamp. Anytime you can beat the Gators is always great, especially in that dump. The game that I wasn't able to go to, kind of a coin flip. I would have liked to have been at Choke-a-Doke. To say that I was at Choke-a-Doke would have been awesome. More recently, though, I think 2014 Notre Dame. That game seemed absolutely electric on television. I remember watching that and wishing I was in Doak for that game.
Absolutely, that would be the one that I wish that I went to.
Yeah.
What's the one you'd like to relive again?
So that's what I asked about watching too, because I'm only 23. I was there 16 and 17. So 16 we had some good games, but the most exciting game was Clemson, which we lost.
Yeah, I was there.
Didn't get to see a whole lot of awesome games, especially 17. But I mean, Clemson 2013, I wasn't there, but I remember watching, and that was just the absolute best time I've had watching a football game. Just not expecting us to really do a whole lot, maybe hang in there with them, but then to just come out and dominate like that. That was probably aside from the national championship, best FSU experience that I've had so far. I'm hoping to get a few more in person under the belt, but every time I'm there, they seem to do stupid stuff like the North Carolina game in 2016.
Oh, right.
Louisville 2017, that kind of stuff. So
hey, buddy, well you got a chance to come watch them September 12th. You can make some new memories against Georgia Tech.
That's right. I can definitely do that if I want to buy a ticket for about $1,000.
That's right.
If there's like a top five list of guys you could make a run at, opposing guys, does North Carolina's kicker from 2016 make the list? I should know his name, but I don't. But if I ever was in a bar and someone's like, that's the guy who kicked the field goal against Florida State to win in 16, splash.
Oh, you throw beer on him?
Yeah.
Again, not because he kicked the field goal, but because he ran around like a wild person doing the chop.
I brought my then girlfriend to that game. Super excited, expected us to win and everything, and that happened. And I just remember staring that guy down for the better part of a minute, and she just saw the fire in my eyes. Could have throttled him.
That's love. That's love. She saw your worst. All right, Ty.
Yeah, she stuck to it.
Appreciate the call, man. Got anything else?
That's it. Thank you guys for what you do, and let's see what happens September 12th.
There we go, man. Go Noles, man. Go Noles, man. Thank you very much, Ty. Appreciate it.
I thought we were going to get a go Noles, but he's like, let's see what happens on September 12th. I was going to say Chubb. Wouldn't Chubb be one from NC State because he spit on the logo? But you're not making a run at Brandon Chubb.
Yeah.
It's smart to go after the kicker.
Yeah. All right, this guy doesn't like the horn. And
that's something. Yeah, there you go.
G. What's up, Gator Kirk? Dropping $13 in the tip jar for your boys. Join Warchant. Hit the thumbs up. Go Noles. # no horn gang. So he gets the Warchant.
I think that's better. I think maybe we should do that for all of them, Aslan. That to me makes a little more sense. Okay, all right. Well, Ray and James get the horn. I feel like Ray and James get to dictate what they hear.
Yeah. Pick your song.
You get your own personal songs of what gets played after the very courteous and appreciated tips that you've donated over the last couple months.
I'm all about like quick and punchy, and the air horn's like quick and punchy. Like the war chant, you can't just listen to the war chant for 3 seconds. You got to let it breathe for at least 10 and 15 so it gets into your veins, into your bloodstream.
What about Seminole Wind?
Okay.
Blow, blow, Seminole Wind. People could donate to have me not sing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That was pretty good.
That sounds pretty good, though, doesn't it?
That was smooth. All right,
blow again.
That's probably the last phone call we'll take on the night. Let's hope it's a strong one. Welcome on in to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's Indescribably Good. Who is this and where are you calling us from?
This is Denver Jr., man. I am alive.
He's back. The guy that drove to Denver. All right.
Good, man. That's good to hear.
Yeah, man. It's a very long drive. I tried to drive straight through. I didn't stop anywhere. Do not recommend that to anyone at all. Don't do it. It's horrible.
What was the journey you drove on again? Regale us again.
So I went from Denver. Well, I got up when I left from Tallahassee. And I came up here to Denver. Then I was on my way back to Tallahassee from Denver after I had called you guys or whatever. That was a super long drive. The worst part about it was driving through Kansas. There's nothing there. I don't know if you've been there, but it's just air and space.
Yeah, it's just air and there's nothing. It's like driving through a blank page just for 3 hours. There's nothing to see. There's nothing.
Oh God.
There's cows and horses.
Well, yeah, you get to see some of that. You get to see some of the, that stuff, I guess.
I'm terrible.
And that's what I was trying to drag it up here to show your route, but he's not doing the best job.
It's tough. It's tough over here. I promise.
Man, that is crazy. What a drive.
For some reason, my GPS is horrible, and I ended up somehow coming through like Kansas City or whatever, which is a pretty nice area, except for like, all the violence stuff there. But other than that, like, it's really nice though.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we got love for Kansas City.
Yeah, I do. But Corey, so I really wanted to tell you this, right? I've been waiting. So when I was up in there, I'm still up in Denver now. Well, not still. I came back up here. But a guy came in because I got a job up there. Yay.
Good job, man. Good. Nice.
Yeah, he happened to be from no other place than Shreveport, Louisiana, right?
Oh, no.
Of course. I said, how do you like Shreveport? How is it there? These are his words, man. He said, horrible, it's dirty, and I hate the people there. I said, wow. So you shouldn't feel bad about anything that you say about Shreveport anymore, because this is coming from the people of Shreveport.
That's from the source. They're trying to get out. They're desperate to get out. It was I don't know if I would say I hate the people. I didn't meet the people. I assume, I always assume on face value that people are decent until they prove me wrong. So I don't want to say anything negative about the people. The city is just, oh boy, good grief. You think, I guess they have the Hustler Club right next to where the Florida State football team was staying. They have Podunk Casino. It's just it's hard to describe. But yes, I do feel vindicated. But I never really felt bad about my attack on Shreveport because it was warranted. Just the people there. I don't want to say anything negative about the people because they might be good people. But the river was brown. Just nothing redeeming really about that city that I could tell. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you backing me up.
It's kind of harsh. He said that about the people. I was like, okay. But yeah, that's what I was like. That's what he said. I feel like those fine people in Shreveport might be good, fine people. Also, it just might be the area.
Yeah. Right. It's like it's hard to describe. You just have to go through it, and you'll be like, wow. And again, remember the stadium they were playing at, I think, was built in 1861. I think it housed somehow had something to do with the start of the Civil War. Like I legitimately can't believe that stadium they still allow football games to be played. There was the pig on the roof at the fair. It was a tin shack roof next to the stadium. It was just for somebody that was used to covering games in the Orange Bowl in New Orleans and Atlanta to then be in Shreveport, it was a pretty big step down. But not as big a step down as the next year where they didn't go to a bowl at all.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's better than going to Shreveport.
I guess you could say that. You got anything else for us?
Yeah. So here's my question for you guys, right? So we see that, I guess, James Blackman's starting out. Great, cool. Congratulations to him. So I guess we all know that this season doesn't count at all, right? Everybody gets a mulligan. So it's not going to happen. But let's dream for a second. Say everybody who's eligible to leave this year decides they love Florida State so much, they're going to come right back, including Tamorian Terry, Marvin Wilson, all those guys, right?
Right. Okay.
How do you feel about our chances going into next season as far as like overtaking Clemson and taking back our conference and making a run into the playoffs?
Okay, yeah. So for the people that don't know or don't remember, all seniors this year doesn't count as far as eligibility. So James Blackman will come back next year as a junior. So he might be in another quarterback competition in 2022, for all we know. It literally might span my whole adult life writing about James Blackman quarterback competitions. So Terry could come back, all of them. Pokey, like the whole team could come back next year. Asante, Marvin, they could all come back. I would not foresee – I don't know that I would be confident in them overtaking Clemson, but they would be really damn good. I think a year of those guys, a year better, a year stronger, and with this coaching staff, I think they'd have a chance to break through and get back to where they're used to being. Not necessarily beating Clemson, but maybe that's the only loss. And maybe they're in the playoff conversation. I mean, I think they could be that good, assuming the offensive line somehow finds a pulse. But if that happens, or you get some transfers, I would foresee them being very good if the whole roster came back intact in 2021. And, hey, why can't it happen? Marvin's not in a rush.
Let's go.
Tamorian's not in a rush. Just come on back to school, guys. And that's when the NLI stuff starts, right? Or the NIL, the name and image stuff. So they can start repping Warchant. We can start paying them over the table instead of under the table like we did in December to get them to come back. And they can still make money and have fun and be college kids.
There we go. All right, man. We appreciate the call. You got anything else?
Last thing, man. It is horrible that there's no Zaxby's in Denver. We need to make that happen. That is the worst thing in the world.
We'll figure it out. We'll get somebody out there.
But you're right. Zaxby's is great. Go eat anytime you're not in Denver.
I will, man. Love what you guys do, man. Keep it up, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, let's do a little speed round here as we wrap things up and wind it down. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening.
Hey, thank you, Gator Kirk, by the way. Gator Kirk for the money. That was awesome. We really did appreciate that. Oh, look at this. Another one. Horn Gang. Hashtag Horn Gang for George. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, man. 15 in the tip jar for your guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody who did donate. Let's real quickly.
George doesn't need any Just for Men in his beard. That's a jet black beard right there. Looking good.
For last, we go to Warchant real quick. A couple comments on the show. Great job, guys. Love the show. Says Aziahola 82, which is actually Osceola in Osceola in the Seminole language. Quick observation. I love the show. Corey wasn't impressed with EJ playing on a broken leg when a day earlier he missed an interview, went home and laid down for a stomach ache.
Fair point. I don't really have a counter to that. That's a very, very fair point. Let's just say EJ is a lot tougher than I am.
On a serious note, it can't be understated how the team has, in part, transformed through the new strength coach. I think this alone will help the team make great strides. Looking forward to the 12th. Go Noles. Stands with beer. With this abnormal season and the ACC network being in year 2, is there a chance that we could see a spike in money this season, even less money, or will the money remain the same? I know Notre Dame being a temporary full-time member, the numbers will change, but outside of that, I'm wondering if we've built the ACC network up any growth from year 1 to 2.
No Comcast money, I can tell you that much. Yeah. I would not think so. I would think the numbers would be a little bit down because the inventory's down. There's not, so I don't think the soccer will have maybe a full schedule. We'll see how that goes. I know NC State's not playing soccer. I just don't think there'll be as much inventory on the network for college football games. And I just think it'll go down a little bit. Let's hope. I mean, let's hope it's just a little bit. Not what in the world?
What is going on here? Corey, I can't even talk. Tell people what's going on.
So Tay Miller, T-A-E Miller, just tipped us $100. Wow, is that real?
I think so. It looks real. You can touch it. It's real.
It's tangible. I'm touching my screen and it's there. That is unbelievable. Thank you very much, Tay. That means a lot. It didn't even say good job or have a question. He just wanted to know how much he appreciated us, I guess. That's awesome, man. Thank you very much. That's incredible.
Tay Miller, yeah, good grief. Here's a joke you can use. What's the difference, Corey, between a hippo and a zippo?
I don't know.
One's quite large. The other one's a little lighter.
Here's a better one. What's the best way to catch a polar bear?
Oh, I
think you dig a hole in the ice and you sprinkle peas around the hole, and when he comes to take a pee, you kick him in the ice hole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
look at that.
That's a good one. Tay, you got two for the price of one.
That's
usually it's $100 per joke, but we gave you two this time for the price of one. That's really awesome, man. Thank you very much for that. That's very, very gracious. Not gracious. It's very much appreciated.
Generous. It's amazing, man.
Generous. That's the word I was looking for. Not gracious. We're gracious.
We love generous. Thanks to James B. Thanks to Sandra Gordon. Thanks to Ray, Premier Youth Theater, or maybe
PYT.
Yeah. Gator Kirk, George Quano, and Tay Miller, our anonymous donor, I guess. Well, he's not anonymous, but there's no picture of him. There's no message. He went and just dropped $100 on your guys because he felt like doing that. All right. We're going to be back again tomorrow because that's what we do now on this show. We do it every weekday, Monday through Friday. We'll be speaking to the team tomorrow, Corey, or are they off tomorrow?
That's the plan. Yeah, we got availability tomorrow too. So more transcribe and fireworks coming your way.
What about Thursday? Is it just Wednesday?
I don't know, buddy. What am I? Your schedule maker?
I don't know. Two of my buddies were like, "How come Corey always asks you to look up stuff? Does he not know how to use Google?" And now I feel more compelled to make you start doing your own stuff when I ask you a simple question. You're just rude.
I'm sorry. That's my fault. I really don't know.
Friday. We get a Wednesday, Friday this week.
Okay. So. All right. There you go. All right.
11 a.m. tomorrow.
Sure. Well, close enough. Hey, we're not going to complain too much when we're getting every player we want, and we even got a coordinator today. It's a new world here in Tallahassee.
I mean, it was 100. I usually do one for every $10. I mean, we'd be here all day cranking it out. So thanks, Andy, for everybody watching. Head over to warchant.com. It's your ultimate Seminoles sports source. Use that promo code warchant30. And if you don't have $100, we still love you. Just maybe hit the thumbs up on the way out of here. For Corey, I'm Aslan. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll catch up with you all tomorrow.